Marina Tracy. So I'll let you introduce.
Kia ora, councillors. Good morning. I hope you're having a good day. So as the report reads, this is an information only report, and it highlights the activities of the Regulatory Compliance Unit for the November-December period. So it's a bi-monthly report. I'm just going to take this off because it's hard to speak to you all. It's a bi-monthly report, and so it doesn't capture January. So a wee bit behind the eight ball. And it covers off our levels of service up until the end of December. So the highlights that my team have been focusing on, which are a lot of seasonal highlights, typically the Freedom Camping campaign kicks off on the 1st of December, and that takes us through to the 30th of April this year. And we provide I hope I'm not going over old ground for you all, but I thought I'd give you a wee bit of an update. We provide a education, monitoring and enforcement approach to freedom camping. So we have an educational approach in the evening and then an enforcement approach in the mornings. So we have officers working up till 10, 11 o'clock at night providing the education so people know what they're supposed to be doing, and then we go and check that they are compliant with what's required in the mornings. This season has also brought into play the changes to the bylaw, and I've detailed those within the report, so I hope you've all had an opportunity to have a read of those. To date, the Freedom Camping season has run really, really smoothly. Volumes are low, as you can anticipate. We don't have the international travellers like we normally would. It is all national travellers, and they're consistent numbers with last season though, because it's our current situation, it's not different from last season. The key areas of activity have been a long marine parade in Akaroa in the Banks Peninsula area, which are again similar to the previous year. Campers do tend to like to flock to the coastal areas, which is also understandable. We have been issuing infringement notices where we've found non-compliance, and as of December, we had 15 infringement notices issued for non-compliance of the camping requirements. This year was the first year we ran a proactive campaign in relation to pool safety, and as within the report you can see, this has been really well received. We've had a lot more visits to our websites, about 2,000 more visits between the period of show weekend and the 20th of December, which is typically when people are starting to purchase pools and getting ready for the summer holidays, which is a 70% increase on our website hits last year. So the campaign has been really positive, and we've had an increase in compliance, and we can't attribute it all to the campaign, but we do believe that it has factored into the education of people knowing what to do and what types of pools to purchase, and what they need to have fenced and what they don't need to have fenced, which is typically the problem we have with those pools that people buy from the warehouse, those blow-up ones, and they just pop them in the backyard, but they're still a risk. Noise control is an activity near and dear to my heart at the moment because it is constantly under pressure given our community behaviour post-COVID or during COVID, and even now as we go into Omicron phase. We have more and more of the traditional settings where people can go and get together, have gatherings, drink and party, have been closed or restricted in numbers and size. So more and more of these gatherings are happening at people's residences. I don't know if you were aware, but last week I put a Newsline story out there just to reflect and try and remind people of what their responsibilities were if they were to be hosting a party or a gathering as such. So hopefully that will help educate and minimise the volume of complaints we're receiving. And our level of service for noise control is down slightly for this time last year. It's at, for January, it's at 89.9%. So we have pulled it back from December slightly, and the contractor has got regular engagement with my team. We're meeting weekly and talking about issues that are incurring, They're recruiting more staff where they can possibly do so, and we're trying to make a positive impact in this space. But as you can imagine, Christchurch is a massive geographical space, and for our officers to get there within 1 hour of the call out can sometimes be really challenging for them. So at the moment for noise control, our year-end forecast is currently sitting at 85.6%, but hopefully the January outcome is showing a positive trajectory in the right way. And I have my dashboard there for you all to have a look at, and welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And Andrew.
Thank you. So 3 short questions, all relating to freedom camping, if I can. So in relation to paragraph 3.1, thanks very much indeed for the reminder of the changes that we made to the bylaw last year. I'm assuming from your overall comments that implementation of those changes went well, any new signage was in place and people are generally complying with them?
Yep, and where they're not, the signage is clear and it's easy for our officers to enforce based on that signage.
Okay. I guess that brings me straight to my second question. The infringement notices, I mean, 15 is a relatively low number compared to what we've seen other years, although it's early in the season, and noting your comments about a greatly reduced number of campers compared to pre-COVID. Is there any pattern to what those notices have been issued for, or where they've been issued? Are there any particular areas or particular activities that are causing the infringements?
Well, the 2 areas are the Marine Parade and Ekaroa area, and it is a pattern of staying longer in a prohibited area space, or the other is not having a self-contained, not having verification or proof of a self-containment certification.
Yeah. Okay. And then final question, you note reduced number of campers at Naval Point due to the reduced opportunity and the construction works there. Is there any sense of where those people are going instead?
We haven't got any indication where they're going. We've just got indication they're not there. So.
Okay. No, that's all good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Pauline.
Well, thank you. But my question's around noise control and possibly nuisance control, which noise control is generally, I know, night time through to early morning. But in my area where there's a lot of building intensification, I've had a lot of calls from people about, excess noise on a construction site. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, do we have any tools that we can use to control that? Because some of these sites, it's very, very loud yelling, including bad language, and often a loud commercial radio with advertising. Mm-hmm. And when people have to put up with that for like 6 months, it can be quite tough. And then the nuisance is when they create and leave rubbish around that blows around the streets and parking across driveways. And I'm not in any way saying that every site is like that, but the ones who are, it's very stressful on the neighbourhood. So do we have any tools that we can use to address that or not?
The district plan allows us to address construction noise, and that is the hammer and the nail kind of construction noise, not persons on the construction site making noise. Yep. We also do have a component of the district plan that allows us to address stereo noise coming from properties. So that is our typical noise complaint that we receive both day and night, and the rules apply to whether it is a portable stereo or whether it is a big stereo that's occupying a party. So we can address that type of thing. And we can also address the litter from the Litter Act perspective if it is to a point where it is seen to be a nuisance.
All right, so that would be the best way for people to call in and or lodge a request for service and using those 3 things.
Yes, absolutely. The parking thing doesn't fit within my responsibility, but if they're having challenges with parking or people parking over private right-of-ways, absolutely call in and the team will go and investigate it. I know that for certain.
Great, thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you, Pauline. Any further questions? No. Well, sorry, Aaron.
Just a quick one on sound, and I had kind of asked it at committee level before, but I think I heard recently there might be something going through government around noise complaints. Back in the old days, someone turned up with a meter and stood outside and they go, oh yeah, 55 decibels or 60, whatever, pick your number. You're over, can't do it. Just walk in, tap on the door and go, you're too loud, turn it down. Now it's subjective, and people seem to complain about that a lot because they go, well, what's too loud?
Yeah.
Why do we not just have a meter. So whether it's a factory or whatever is allowed in an area, it's just one rule, because that's how you do speeding. Cop
Yeah.
can't pull you over and go, oh, you're going too quick. It's 38, buddy. Yeah, well, I think that's too quick.
Yeah.
Why the difference?
So there is two aspects to it. Under the RMA, we can use a meter as a gauge for noise levels, and we do that in many circumstances. But when we're responding to party noise, it's under the district plan, and that is a subjective measure in the district plan. So we can only administer the tools we have, and we can't sort of cross over those tools.
So how does someone having a party, just to put a foot in both camps, know that they're too loud or not too loud?
Well, generally when we turn up, I mean, as in the news line report that I said to everybody in the community, when you're having a party, it's really important to let your neighbours know, speak to them, engage with them, get your people inside before 10 o'clock if you can, watch the bass level, because bass is always the thing that intrudes private residences. There's some key things that people can do to still invite the neighbours. But they can do to not make it intrusive to the neighbours in the area.
But that still doesn't say how loud you can be.
Yeah, we've also got the level of when we have to do noise meter readings, we have to be observant of the ambient noise around us. So if we are on a street that is heavy traffic, we have to silence out any ambient noise. So that's to be fair to the people we are actually monitoring, because if you were having a party and you were on John's Road, for instance, busy road, you could be clobbered for having the noise of the traffic generating the noise of your party as well. So to do meter readings, it's not a 2-minute job. You actually have to do a 15-minute block of meter reading before you can actually determine whether or not it's exceeding the required decibel levels. So when we respond to noise complaints, it is a subjective reading where the officer pulls up at the property, listens, gauges, and makes the assessment at that time.
Right.
Thank you, Aaron. Any further questions? I'm happy to move from the chair. Thank you, Pauline. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? So, Sam, is that a...
Thank you.
Oh, yep, good. Yep, so thank you very much, Tracy.